you're live.
I'm the Historical Society.
No, you're already signed up.
There you go.
I
Terry, you're
got
live.
you and Dave Cope together, so. Okay, this is the opening call to order of the capital outlay meeting for January the 2nd, 2025 at 4 p.m. Conference room number 1. We've taken the roll. Everybody's present. And is there any modifications? Well, there is going to be one modification to the agenda, which will be just in the old business discussion on the battery backup replacement that had to be an emergency replacement at the jail. This is an item we just previously discussed that had to turn into something else. So we'll put that as item number 7B. And I think that's all I have. Does anybody else have anything? I will mention also item 7C, which will be the signage, the welcome signs. Just for-
That C
Yeah, we'll make that C,
on new or old.
old business. That should be all the modifications I think we have for it. And we need a
Motion to approve agenda.
motion to approve agenda. It's been made, it's amended,
I'll second it.
seconded by Jimmy Hollingsworth. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. So approve and modify the minutes from the last meeting. I've read over them. I don't know if anybody else has read over them. I know Tina has. Have you read them?
I looked over them.
Did anybody see anything that's wrong with them? Because I did not see anything.
I try.
Good minutes. Anybody else? Need a motion for approved minutes from the last meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
I'll second.
Motion been made and approved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. No public comments. I don't think we have any public comments. No public comments. Unfinished old business, which will be, I got that messed up at 6, but it's not, it should be 7A, which is our bid documents. I want to give you a report on the animal shelter bidding documents will be out for bid very quickly. The bid date has been set for the animal shelter on February the 20th at 11 o'clock in the morning, a.m. And I'll also give you a report on the health department bid documents. They will be coming out very quickly. They've been approved. That bid opening will be on February the 25th at 11 p.m. or a.m. That's 11 a.m. And that's all I have to report on that. I believe everything has been approved through those departments. Going on to 7B, which is battery backup replacement. Turned into, I guess, emergency. Rick, you want to go ahead and
I'll let Frank kind of tell you what it is, because he knows more about what it actually is, but, I mean, I do too, but. he
So
can pass those out.
so in the back of the jail, there's a battery backup. That's the whole building battery backup. It has, what was
72.
it, 72 batteries in it. Those lithium batteries. Over the years, of course, the jail's 10 years old. Over the years, they have swelled and become inoperable to the point that it was causing a malfunction and had to be cut off. Call some people in. There are very few people that do that type of work on a whole building, commercial type setting. Eaton is one of them. Eaton came out, they gave a bid, or gave a quote. We let it rock on for a while, trying to find some other folks, and then it finally got to where the power would go off, everything would go off. And it was becoming detrimental to the systems inside the jail, because as we know, that jail is basically electronic. And so, I got with Rick and, talked with him. Then apparently he talked with Mariana, and we kind of looked at it as an emergency. And so he went ahead and had Eaton's go ahead and get it taken care of. It's not been done yet.
It'd be done Monday. We had to,
It's,
they made us buy
made us-
everything up front.
They made us pay up front.
And so I paid for everything so we could get it started, but it's not the money that we had. Like, it's not, basically a maintenance item. So we don't really have the money in the maintenance budget.
So I guess what we
So-
would be wanting to do is request it to go to Budget and Finance for reimbursed his budget back, out of maybe capital projects or something.
Correct. And there's one of those for everybody. If they want to, that's just basically an outline of what we purchased, and what it cost. I believe it was 32.
32,000.
Yeah.
What do you need? You need a motion for recommendation to do that?
I guess we do to send it forward it
Send
to
it-
Budget and Finance
For a reimbursement.
for a reimbursement out of capital projects.
So my question is, installment, are they paying for that too?
That's all that's included.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all included.
There's another a fee for
What, a maintenance
a
agreement?
maintenance agreement that we're doing with them, but that is a maintenance issue, and I will be paying for that out of my budget. This is
See, we didn't have that maintenance agreement. That really wasn't given an option when the jail was turned over to us. It was basically turned over and said, here you go, and there's everything in it. So certain aspects, like, we do have a maintenance agreement on several things of the jail. One of the, we pay, I think it's $8,000 something a year. That's for our cameras, locking controls, access control system. They come. I think we get 3 PM visits a year, and then after that, it just saves us on our trip fee.
I just wanna make sure we were asking for enough money when we send it to budget finance.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
That's
32,650 is the.
like I said, the
everything
rest
in
of it's
install.
a maintenance agreement, which we kind of have to do. They won't warranty anything if they don't have the maintenance agreement, because they come, I believe it's once or twice a year, and they check
Yeah.
everything, and so. But that is part of that would fall under daily maintenance, so we'll be paying for that out of the maintenance budget.
I'll make a motion to send it to budget and finance to see if we can reimburse what we can.
I'll second.
Who seconded?
Tim?
So we have a motion to send this on to the Budget and Finance for reimbursement to the Maintenance Department's budget. That's the way I understand it.
Maintenance department's
correct?
jail budget, correct?
Maintenance Department's jail.
What was that amount, Frank? What was it?
$32,650. Yes, 32,650.
Any more discussion on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. We'll get that sent to them. I got most of the paperwork filled out already, so everybody needs to sign this. And I want to attach that with it.
That was in my paper. I don't know if Rick needs that or not. In my,
Thanks.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Let me fix this. Let's move on to item number 7C, which is welcome sign. I will let you know that we, Dennis and I have been in contact with TDOT and, or whatever you want to call them. And they have said that we will have to get permission from them for every location.
Since they're all on state roads.
Since they're on state right of ways. So we'll be doing that along with while he's doing the red light at Hillsborough. And, so that should be moved along pretty quickly now. But I'm gonna talk with, Harding Sign about the signs and holding the price until we know how many exactly we'll be able to put up.
Does the, if we do the 41A in Tullahoma, does the, getting the TDOT permission supersede Tullahoma? Or do we have to get with them too?
We have to get with Tullahoma too,
Okay,
because they have their own sign ordinance.
okay.
Okay, that being said, that's old business. In new business will be a report from the maintenance supervisor. You're up, Rick?
Just to update on some of the projects. Codes, they got their flooring and paint done from earlier this year. senior citizens. We're still waiting on the flooring. Supposed to start on Monday. I know it's been a long, drawn-out process, but I confirmed that they was supposed to start on Monday. And it'd take probably about 3 or 4 days to get it done, but it should be done on Monday. But they do have working toilet and urinals, so there shouldn't be any. I know they've kind of been complaining a little bit about not having the bathroom done, but the flooring that we're putting in there's one installer in Middle Tennessee, and so it's a long wait. But hopefully on Monday it'll finally get started. So.
I'd like to add, because there've been some complaints about that. I've had like 3 or 4, I guess, because it's in District 1. I told them I would bring it up tonight and address it. You addressed it, and they're all watching tonight. So
Oh, yeah, okay.
I told them to tune in, they could watch it play
Yeah.
out. So they're anxious to get it finished.
I'm sure, and they're not the only ones.
They're
And
not.
I am as well.
And they would like to have a lock on the door, because
Yeah.
when they go in there to use the restroom, there's no stalls or anything. People just walk in on them.
Yeah.
They'd like to have some way to.
Well, I mean, we're going to be putting stalls in. I mean,
got you.
that is something.
Yeah, we don't
And
need-
actually, Diane is actually the one that's supposed to be working on getting the stalls done. I told her that I would do and pay for everything out of my budget except for the stalls, 'cause I don't have the money in my budget. And she said that she was going to try to make that happen. So
But you're probably gonna finish up in the next week, though, right?
the flooring will be done. And then, like, as far as getting the stalls, if she says it's going to take a while, like because it's going to be something that she's having, I believe she's trying to get Sane's Construction to do. I'm not really sure, but
Is there any way?
but
you
then
could
we could put a lock. We
like
could
a
put a lock on.
temporary, like a temporary latch on the
Yeah.
bathroom door.
Yeah, but I understand what she's saying, but the biggest complaint right now about that bathroom. So the bathroom has actually been operable since day one. When they keep complaining, is about not having the toilet and the urinals. So multiple people could use the bathroom at one time. So if we put a lock on it and somebody locks it, then we're back to the same issue of only one person using it at a time. So I mean, that's something that she would have to, you know what I mean. So I don't know what what they want to do with that, but because that
I
was.
told you was working hard on it.
But I mean, I'll do whatever.
All right.
If she wants a lock on it, we'll put a lock on it. But anyways, so I'll talk with her about it.
Yeah,
and
I
see.
think they had I think they had got a portable and put outside, right?
Yeah, so I put a portable outside.
Okay.
She has an extra bathroom in her office that she apparently doesn't want people to use. And then the bathroom that we're working on has, like I said, it's had a toilet from day one. But they still, they're not happy with only having. I was told they were not happy with only having one toilet.
My issue with putting a temporary door lock on that door or any type of lock on that door, you're gonna damage the door, you're gonna damage the frame. So I just as soon not do that.
Yeah.
Cause then they're gonna go, well, you got holes now in the frame and then you got holes in the door. Can you replace that too? So when do you stop the bleed?
Hopefully, we're only
Hopefully it's a
we're only a
taken
few
care of.
weeks away
Yeah.
from being
Yeah, maybe we-
completed and maybe stalls, so that's not an issue.
Okay, thank you.
So on the last meeting, I wasn't here, but the jail units got brought up, so I just want to kind of go over what's going on with that. So we have 3 units that they feel like they want to have replaced, right, over the pods. About 17 weeks out. Even if we get, if we had it approved today, 17 weeks out. They have a couple of units that need repairs, which I have that being done. It's not the same units that we're having replaced. I wanted to make sure that was the case, that we're not spending money to repair units that we're going to be trying to replace, but it's not. It's different units. So in the past, when we have a service contract with a company, we don't bid out to other We don't bid out to other contractors. The reason being is we don't want, let's say, air conditioning heating company A winning the bid when we have a service contract with company C, because then they come in, they put all their own stuff in there, and then you have an issue and you call your normal service contract company and they're like, well, we don't know, we didn't put this in, they messed it up, blah blah blah, and we have to go back and forth. So what we normally do is the company that we have the service contract with, we make them give us basically 3 options with different units as far as price points. So you're going to have, basically grade top of the line, medium, and then, a lower price point, but maybe not the most,
The cheapest.
basically the cheapest unit. And then we decide on where we want to be on based on our price point. That way, the service company that's servicing all the units that we have a contract with, it's their equipment, it's their units. They can't come in when there's an issue, warranty issue, and say, well, that's not our stuff. So that's the reason for that. So with that being said, if you guys are okay with that, then we will move forward with getting quotes from the company that we have our service contract with. And I'll bring them to you when we get them. I'll bring them to you, guys look them over, choose what you guys want to do, and then we'll move forward.
Well, I made the motion last time, I think, to have you get the, actually, I know I did, to have you get started on getting the quotes. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna make, I do know, I've talked to you and gotten familiar with who our service contract is with. And I'm fine with that. So I'm gonna make a motion that you proceed with our service contract company, that you go ahead and get some quotes for them for 3 different, let's go through.
And I have
think 3
I have
different
spoken with
ones.
them, and like I said, they said, unfortunately, no matter what we pick, it's they're looking at like 15 weeks out. So
I'll second the chairman's motion.
Any other discussion on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. What else you got, Rick?
And then the community room got brought up, and the reason we haven't started that project yet is because this is like the busiest time for the community room, and we didn't want to disrupt
I agree.
holding it up. So we're just going to wait till it calms back down, and then we're going to try to do it in maybe a couple different stages to where, because we have a clinic that uses it once a week, I believe, or twice a week, or twice a month on Thursdays. So we're going to try to break it up to where we can do half of it and not disrupt, not close it down for too long. But hopefully we'll get started on that here pretty soon once we get caught back up with everything.
Are we gonna do
else.
anything with the floors?
We did not discuss
We-
doing
Yeah,
anything
we didn't do
before.
anything about flooring right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the
I've
floor
had
is terrible.
complaints that that's basically the smell is the carpet from where.
Yeah,
it's
so
been.
I mean, this is just based on back, many years. As the floors got brought up again, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and there's a major crack in the middle of the floor. And when we talked about getting it fixed and getting new floors, it was probably gonna, and this was everything. Of course, everything's went up a lot since then, but it was about I think it was quoted at $24,000 to get the crack fixed and the new flooring. And when I say new flooring, it was going to be basically like a vinyl flooring, to where it's way more durable and stuff. But to put the vinyl flooring down, the crack would have to be fixed. If you go in there, you can kind of see where the carpet's, it's like wrinkled right there real bad, and it's because there's a huge crack in the floor. Due
Is
to-
that an expansion crack or is that a curing crack?
No, I think it's an expansion crack because it's gotten worse over the last 15 years. When we first made that room, I was in there, and it wasn't near the size it is now when we peeled it back. So it's gonna have to. That's the reason it's gonna cost so much. Like, it has to be cut out. Some rebar has to be put in there, and then concrete back over top of it to kind of keep it from
Move it.
hopefully, being a problem again in 20 years. But and like I said, that was probably 8 years ago when I had that quoted. I'm sure it's gonna be a little more expensive now.
It's cheaper, yeah.
But yeah, so I do get a lot of complaints about the carpet as well, and it's because it's probably been in there for 15 to 20 years. And I mean, we have to have it shampooed like 3 or 4 times a year, and it looks good for a day or two, and then walk on it, it doesn't look good anymore. So, and I spoke to Dennis at one time, and he asked me about trying to find about getting it dyed or something, and I haven't come up with anything on that. But I mean, that's still a temporary solution to the major crack in the middle of it. But that's all I have, though. Anybody has any questions?
Anybody got anything else? All right, if not, we'll turn to number 8B, and that's Coffee County Historical Society, and that will be Dave, and y'all are up.
Appreciate you guys having us this evening. Again, my name's Dave Kapka. I'm a grant writer for Coffee County.
I'm Bonnie Gamble. I'm the volunteer museum curator at the Historical Society.
I just wanted to start off with the grant itself that we received for the courthouse. It was $150,000, and it will begin funding on March 1st. So it is a match of 10%, so that's going to be $15,000 is all, which is a great deal for the county. And we spoke with Historical Society through the state this morning.
Bobby Cooley, he's with the Tennessee Historical Commission, and we're very fortunate. He lives in Coffee County. So he will be the one that it'll be on their end helping us with the grant. So that's really been great because he's right here. Like he says, 7 minutes away, and we can call him and he can come and give a lot of good advice and guide us on it.
So we have until February 28th, 2026 to finish the project. So it's basically just a year to get this done. And I don't know, Bonnie, do you want to kind of let them know exactly what the scope looks like?
Well, he wrote the scope pretty general, he told us today, but the scope is you're going to remove the old paneling that's in the hallway, and you're going to go back to a plaster wall, and we're going to pull up the vinyl flooring, and it'll go to a wood floor, because that's what it was back in the 1870s, 1880s. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to use lead, as they did. We're fortunate that we have old records in the archives, and it shows receipts of what they paid for, and one of them was 100 pounds of white lead. So we're not using that. But anyway, so that's what the Historical Commission grant covers, is doing the hallway, the walls, and the floor. We, the Historical Society, wrote a grant through the Tennessee State Museum. It's a great grant because it doesn't require any match. It's 100%. And it was to replace the ceiling tiles and put in some new lighting for both the hallway and the 2 museum rooms. Because the Historical Commission's grant, well, they didn't have electric lights back in the day, so they can't cover that kind of thing, but the museum one can. The museum grant for the ceiling tiles and the lighting has to be done by the end of June. Now, I wrote the grant administrator and I said, we got another project that's funded that we can't put those ceiling tiles up in the hallway until the walls and the floor are done. I think Rick and we discussed that. And they said that's fine, that they would, you can ask for an extension. And really, I think that what'll happen is we'll use that money to buy the tiles and have them in place. Because my experience has been, you wait too long and you get the message that it's out of stock, or we don't make this color anymore. And we want to make sure that the tiles we get match and we have them in place. The electric lights, that's not a problem. So the $30,000, we've got it in the bank. And just having permission, letting you know that we're going to move forward on the ceiling tiles and the lighting, especially in the museum rooms, because we're going to have to close the museum for hopefully no more than 2 months while we get that work done. Rick, do you want to jump in on anything? Oh, I have something to show and tell too. I forgot.
So basically, I'm gonna try to act as like the middleman between what they're doing and what
He's our
you know,
expert.
the county is, so I can come back and if you guys have any questions about what's going on or what we're doing, kind of like what she said, the museum part of it, because it's the museum's money and it was not really through the county, there won't be any bidding. They'll be taking
We'll get
care
our
of.
quotes. We're not
yeah,
going to
they're
just
gonna-
give it to one person, but we'll get quotes.
But they'll be
on it.
taking care of that part of it, and then I'll just kind of be overseeing, how the process goes, and if there's any questions, if she has any questions, or if they have any questions as far as electrical or
We're looking at
the building issue
2 by
itself.
2 tin ceiling tiles with authentic looking pattern. We went up, we had Sheriff Parton had told us, oh, if you go up in the courthouse and you lift up the ceiling tiles, you'll find that there's tiles up there. So I talked Rick into taking the ladder up there and going, and we found out, well, yeah, they're ceiling tiles, but they're not tin. They're, what'd you say?
They were just
foam
they're like a pressboard, cardboard type of.
So we don't know if that was
Tile.
mimicking what it was, but we're gonna use that pattern. But we thought it'd be nice to have it tin and paint it. But what's cool that I brought for show and tell is these are pieces of the wall plaster up there. And so if you look, and you can look, I didn't notice that, but he did today at the Historical Society, because I said, green, they painted that stuff green. He said, well, this is faded, so it wouldn't have necessarily been this color. But if you look under there, there's a blue that was on top of that, and the old records showed them having bought what they called Prussian blue back in the 1880s for the courthouse, for the walls and everything, so that's pretty neat if you want to look at it. But you know, when you're a historical person, you sort of think things are neat. Maybe nobody else does. But just want to keep you informed of what we're going to do, and that if you hear tell that, oh, they've asked for some businesses to give quotes on doing the ceiling tiles and the lights, you'll know what we're talking about. And
Yeah, I had spoke with Mariana, and she had mentioned to go to you guys to let you know on the museum grant, because it again is being handled by the Historical Society, not through us, through the county.
Okay.
So you guys are aware, because it is county building, but yet the grant itself on her end, or the one I first spoke of the 10% match, will be run through the
That's
county.
you guys.
That's totally different grants. We have two different grants going on here.
And then Mr. Cooley had spoke to us, and this is just food for thought or future thought, is he has open right now another grant, which is a 60/40, but that grant will pay for something like renovating bathrooms. It will pay for hiring an architect engineer to put together a long-range maintenance plan for that building, or, you know, to answer some of the, I know Rick probably knows that building quite well, issues that we have, and that whole question about, you know, it's a wonderful historic resource. I mean, there's only a few in the state as old as our courthouse. But what are we gonna do to keep it going for the next 20, 25 years? You know, the heating is questionable sometimes, the electrical, you know. That's something that I would put out there for you to think about, is having that opportunity. I mean, you know, if you apply and they say no, well, they say no, you move on. But to be able to have the resources maybe to pay for an assessment. Rick, what's your opinion about that kind of stuff?
I mean, yeah, obviously if you can get an assessment done, but I mean, and I think I've talked to Sandra about this before, but it's the county's justice center, the main justice center, is in really bad shape, and then of course you got the courthouse, the old courthouse that needs a lot of work. So I mean, it's a balancing act on trying to keep everything operable, and then finding the money to actually do what it needs to be done. So I mean, it's good. It's great that we got this grant to but that stuff is cosmetic in my opinion. I mean, it's great. It's gonna be great, but like you said, the bathrooms are still you know what I mean? Like so there's
And
still a
you're
lot of
inside
work that
historic buildings, so you gotta try to figure out
Yes.
how's the best way to do that. And it's so wonderful, but it's not accessible by ADA standards to go upstairs to that courtroom. And, you know, I don't know, you can't think just off the top of your head, well, this is how you would do this. You sort of need somebody to come in and really assess the building and say, here's what the problems are, here's your footprints. But that's my information to let you know there is a grant that would pay for those kinds of things, 60/40, and you could get the federal government to pay for 60% of it. But it would need to be going forward here for an application in the next month and a half.
Right.
or so, but doesn't mean it wouldn't come open again next year either, I don't know, but.
What was the original heating and air in that building when they built it?
It's called
Fans.
cold.
Fans.
Open up the windows,
Fans.
let the wind blow through.
They had to tell people to stop smoking because there was a fire in there. So they had to make a rule that they couldn't smoke anymore in the
What about the-
courthouse.
What about the heat? Was it
With
potbelly
stoves,
stove?
with stove or coal.
No
Coal
plan,
stoves.
no plans to put that back in there?
No, no, we're not going back that far. What he explained to us. Yeah, it might be.
Well, I
one.
happen to have the potbelly stove that came out of the city hall.
Oh,
Old-
really?
Old fire department. It was
Cool.
up on the triangle.
He said the historical commission realizes that a historic building still has to be functional in today's times. So, he can't cover the expense of putting in the new lights or the ceiling, but they're not saying, oh, you can't put that kind of thing in a historic building. I mean, they realize that. Same thing, the bathrooms, they realize that they need to be modernized. And, there's flushing problems, when we have a lot of people in there, which when we have Old Timers Day, the Christmas parade, we keep it open during the Christmas parade so people can use the restrooms, but you get a high volume and you have some issues. And one member brought up about fire. Matter of fact, I don't even know if there's a fire extinguisher in there, to be really honest. Is there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess I better find out where that is.
Yeah, there should be, there's multiple fire extinguishers in the building.
Okay.
But we had them serviced every year, so I know they're there.
The fire
What's the-
suppression. there
Squad
is no-
1.
What's the date? When was that, the courthouse, when was that one built?
1871. It burned December 1870. So like I said, there's not there many.
And
that
it's still,
old.
it's still considered a functional
Yeah,
courthouse.
because you hold court up there. Well, they're holding court.
I got a question for y'all two historical people.
Yeah. Is it
What's
okay?
the oldest functioning courthouse in the state of Tennessee?
Oh, no, I don't know that.
I'll give you a hint. It
You
ain't-
know it. That's why
I'll
you're
give,
asking that
I'll give you a
question.
hint. It's not in East Tennessee either.
Oh, yeah, didn't you tell me that? That was funny, yeah. You would have thought it would be East Tennessee.
Yeah, I would have thought. But theirs had been tore down and new ones built.
Gotcha.
Charlotte, Dixon County,
Oh, yeah.
1802.
Yeah, it's sometimes surprising that
I
that
never would've
area
thought
of
that.
the state got settled before Coffee County was made a county, doesn't it?
thought that.
Dave, didn't Bobby give you some estimates about how much it would
No.
cost
doesn't?
for the
Yes.
There's a,
assessment?
there's a cellar underneath that courthouse, isn't there?
There is a coal,
Or, coal room. I've been under it. I know
I mean,
there's
I've-
something under there.
there is.
Well, I mean, if you crawl underneath there, I mean, it's
It's
just,
nasty.
yeah, it's fun. It's fun to be under there. You should go hang out in there sometime.
I've been in there. I don't need to go back.
Just
I've
kinda
been under there
makes-
for a few water leaks, broken, busted pops.
On the grant that Bonnie's talking about, that's coming up, to hire someone to come in, Bobby Cooley was talking to be around 20,000, which 60/40, around 8,000 would have to be ponied up by the county. Just, again, throwing that out there. But that's a route that we'd wanna take to kinda get that courthouse up to par down the road at some point.
It's on the National Register, I'm not sure if they have specific requirements or not.
They'll probably have specific requirements for it, but they'll let you have a little leeway when you're trying to modernize the bathrooms, for sure.
Oh, yeah, it's like he
Because
said.
you can't put old back in
No,
No,
Right.
that's what Bobby said.
and make it new.
no, how many national parks have we gone to where you
Yeah.
use the restrooms?
Yeah.
Things. But I do want to say, on behalf of the Historical Society, we really super appreciate being able to use the courthouse. It's a wonderful home for us, and we really enjoy being there and being part of preserving the history of the county. And our little museum, if you didn't know, we're the only free museum in the county. And doesn't cost anything to come in there and look. And our only challenges are that we are constrained by space. We only have 2 rooms in a hallway, really, that we can use. So if at any point you stop holding court, We'd love to be able to use the upstairs too. But
I'll just
Hopefully in the future.
I'll just be glad when you get those drop ceilings out of there.
the drop ceilings, well, I mean, yeah, but if you can stay warm, that's the whole issue. It's the
I
same
just-
thing with the paneling. Some people don't want the paneling to go in the offices because they're afraid it's gonna be too cold, you know. But
like-
it'll be interesting. We'll see. You guys will have to come by when they start demoing that, paneling and that, plaster, what's behind there. What colors were there and everything else, so that would be neat.
The 1871 ceilings don't go good with the 1971 ceilings, is what I was trying to.
I know,
You know.
so that'll be gone, but it will be a drop ceiling, you know. As Rick said, to try to go up all the way, there's so much damage to the plaster on those walls.
Well, and they did a lot of, they ran a lot of electrical work and stuff when they modernized it a little bit, and all that stuff is now in the drop ceiling. So if you tore all the drop ceiling out and try to go back to the original plaster ceiling,
Wow,
you would have to. It would be
expensive.
very challenging. We'll put it that way. Very challenging.
All right, guys, thank you for your
Thank you.
report. And we'll consider the other grant too.
Appreciate it.
We'll talk a little bit more about it, I think, on our next meeting.
When's it gotta be in, Dave?
You talking about February
I don't know, it's February, I'm pretty sure, so,
can you get me a date?
not off my head, but I'll find out.
Yeah, we'll give it to you.
Dave, can you send it, email? Thank you all, appreciate it. Do we wanna run that by through budget
See you,
and finance, just to let them know what we're looking at maybe? Can I give them a heads up? It's gonna be a 60-40 grant.
He said it'd be about $8,000.
That's just for the
That's the 40 part.
engineering part of it, laying out, yeah.
Cause he said it cost about 20 to get
Yeah.
an engineer.
I think we ought to just let them know we're looking at it. That way they kinda have a heads up.
The biggest issue with assessments, as you guys all know, is the assessments can be very high. And so, if the county doesn't have
Thank you.
the, I don't know exactly the right word for it, but the resources to put all that money into the building, you don't want to throw away $8,000 to $10,000 for somebody to tell you that you need to spend $150,000.
I know, that's the hard pill to swallow.
That's what I've found, and we've done, I guess you would say, salary assessments and building assessments and roof assessments before in the past, and there's sometimes you just know that the county doesn't have the resources at that time to put that kind of money in to whatever building you're talking about or whatever, and so it doesn't really. I'm not saying maybe 2 years down the road we're not in a whole lot better place, and we can afford to put $150,000 in, because I know they're going to tell you as far as heating and air goes, and electrical, plumbing, bathrooms. It adds up pretty quick. So that's just my thought. All right, I'm not saying we shouldn't or we should.
And it's
something that
cosmetic, it's nothing that has to be done right now.
well. They feel like it needs to be done, but that's why budget and finance and maybe the county commission. They can put their 2 cents into it, and if they feel like the bathrooms at the old courthouse need to be redone,
The
then
bathrooms is the worst part of it. That and the.
yeah.
and the
So what's
sewer
being
line.
done now is clearly cosmetic. As far as the grants that we're receiving now, that we've already received to do repairs, it's completely cosmetic. If they want to spend $150,000 to remove the paneling and put new plaster, get all new plaster. That's what they want to do. That's fine, but it doesn't help the bathroom situation. Or they complain about the heat and stuff a lot. It's not going to help that situation. So if the county wants to help that situation, then that's when the county is going to have to start putting in a bunch of money, because what they're talking about doing is completely cosmetic.
Yep.
Now, I know she said that 60-40 grant will help with, that money could be used for.
Could be used, yes,
Bathrooms.
yes.
And hiring an engineer and other stuff like that, and possibly maybe the heat and
Yeah.
air.
So the biggest thing about that
But
grant,
we would have to already
Yeah.
be looking at, do we want to spend that money?
yeah,
Because when you get the totality of the bill, like you said, hire the engineer, and then the engineer comes in there, Cause that grant is gonna ask you for quotes. So you're gonna run out and get quotes for an engineer and say 20 grand. Well, how much do you think it's gonna be for the bathroom? Well, there's
Too big. I mean,
what? Just top of your head, bathrooms.
the way they want to do it, probably $60,000.
I was
so-
gonna say 60, 70.
So there's 80. And now HVAC, probably another 50.
Nah, it'd be way higher than 50.
Okay,
Because
so-
there's all they have is basically like split units
Split units
downstairs.
everywhere.
Upstairs they have the actual unit, but downstairs is where they, have their museum and their offices and stuff. It's all downstairs, and it's all split units.
But if we get some grants and we can help out a little bit with it, because we've gone for years, really, since the 80s probably, before we've actually spent, anything on it much at all. It's probably the late 80s before we was actually spending money on it. Been a long time.
I mean, we've spent a lot of money, but just to get it, we're
Yeah, I mean, it's
keeping it
yeah.
just,
That's our split.
just operable.
If it was $180,000.
I mean, we put all new split units in. We put all new, we put a real unit upstairs. And actually probably, and Terry can probably attest to this, it's probably been about 6 or 7 years ago when we had the main water line bust there. We had to redo the bathroom. That we redid the toilets and stuff in that one bathroom. But I mean, they're talking about, when you talk about what they're asking, they're talking about ADA compliant. I mean, you're talking about basically going there and redoing everything.
Yeah, because you have an
Stall,
issue on
yeah.
getting a doorway into it, in the location where it's at.
And
And there's no handicap assets to the
well,
stalls.
on that one,
to
the
stalls
door's
up
not
there.
even,
No,
the
and they're
women's
just- they're
bathroom,
just-
the door
just
isn't
wide.
even big enough for a
don't even know if
wheelchair, I
they're
don't
wide
believe.
enough to get a wheelchair.
And you gotta go
Yeah,
through
they're
two
not,
doorways.
But there's 3 up there, so they'd have to go
You
to
have to go
2.
through 2 doorways right now.
In the women's restroom, you
Yeah.
do. 3, actually. I guess if you're talking about going through the glass door, then you got to go through 2 wood doors, and one of them I'm pretty sure is not 36 inches. If I'm not exactly sure, but I can almost guarantee you it's not. So, I mean, in a perfect world, I would love to redo all the bathrooms and redo everything with all this other work that's being done. I mean, it would be, I just worry about how much the county has the resources to put that money into it when we have a justice center right down the road that's in a lot of
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
in pretty bad shape as well.
Any more new business? If not, let's set our date for our next meeting, which will be February
6th.
the 6th. Everybody good with that?
Yes, sir.
4 o'clock, same place. All right, and I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We're off. Did everybody get my text?